Okay, question 5. Question 5 asks us to write the following in set builder notation and interval notation. So the following is, of course, the diagram there, the drawing on the number line, and that represents a certain interval, or it represents a certain set of numbers. And we, of course, needed to deduce from the diagram what this would look like in set builder notation. So basically working backwards from what we've done in the previous question. Right, so if I think I would just quickly just redraw that for us for our purposes. Okay, so that's just me redrawing what is on the question. If I had to write this in set builder notation, it would look as follows. So just to understand what I'm looking at is, okay, so I see I've got the number 0 here, I've got an open circle, and I've got all values, because that's what the arrow means, all values to the left of 0. So that means going to negative infinity. So this means all values that are to the left of 0 are, of course, less than 0. So that would be all values of x such that x is less than 0. And x would be an element of real numbers. So that's set builder notation. So let's write that down. Let's choose red. So set builder notation, all values of x such that x is less than, not less than or equal to, just less than 0. And x is an element of real numbers. Why? Because the arrow indicates that it is everything on the number line to the left of 0. So that's set builder notation. Interval notation now for 5.2. So how would this look like on interval notation? So interval notation makes use of the brackets and writing, one number to the other number. So indicating, from what number to the next number that interval lies in. So between those two numbers within the brackets. And of course we know, I think I did not include earlier on that if I could somehow just quickly add excluded, brackets that are excluded would be the round brackets, and brackets that are included would be the square brackets. So those go together. Okay, so this is of course for interval notation over here. That's for interval notation. So if I go back here, so the fact that this arrow goes on to infinity, it means infinity or negative infinity will never be included, because we can't put our finger on infinity. So we can't go to number and say there's infinity. So it's never included, because if you include infinity, you are implying that you can somehow define infinity, or you can see it or put your finger on it, and you cannot. So infinity would be not included, so that would be a round bracket. And because our interval is from, if you read from left to right, negative infinity would be on. You would start off with that, coming all the way from that side, coming all the way to 0. So that means I would then start off with an open, a round bracket, and I would be coming from negative infinity. Infinity sign is not looking too bad. Maybe now it looks a bit worse, but okay, that's negative infinity. And we use a semicolon in between, and coming all the way to 0, because it stops at 0. And of course, because we have an open circle, 0 would be excluded, so a round bracket. So that's interval notation from negative infinity all the way to 0, neither one of them included. So that's round brackets on both sides. All right, so that's the test. That was our first encounter with some grade 10 mathematics, just basic stuff, some revision of grade 9, of course. We'll see a lot more of set builder notation and interval notation later on when we do the topic of inequalities. And hope to do a lot more of these. And as always, I hope that these videos are helping and adding some value. So that's been it. See you in the next one. Goodbye.